Hi, guys. In this episode, I talk about some of the psychological hurdles I went through in the process of publishing my book, along with how I struggled and dealt with imposter syndrome. Welcome back to another episode of A Writer's Diary, and I am your host, Madame Elle Varda. Okay, let me turn off. Okay, you know what? Let me turn it off. Last year, I wrote my first book, and I learned something through that entire process that I could not have foreseen coming. So when I started the year, when I had started 2019, I told myself I'm writing a book in a month. I had all my pieces written out already, like I said, since it was a collection. And so all I had to do was to edit it down, put it as a PDF, and boom, I would be a published author. But of course, nothing works out as planned, especially when I'm new to this. I just thought it would be this thing I'd be able to spit out. Like, thought of a book, boom, book is done, boom, book is published. It is now on Amazon. But the process was actually difficult. Because as a writer, especially when you write poetry or anything creative or a script, or when you're talking about fictional storytelling, there is always room for rewrite. And so that was one thing I struggled with. The other thing was getting to a final product, because now I'm not fighting the battle of putting a book together, but I'm fighting the psychological battle of like, what does it mean for me to press publish on this? How does that align with the ideas of who I think I am? And I was experiencing a lot of imposter syndrome. Oh my God, I experienced that to the nth degree. And so that kind of paralyzed me from ever publishing it, even after having finished the manuscript. I struggled to understand. I guess I didn't struggle to understand. I struggled to believe who I would become if I did this. Like, I would become an author. And for some reason, that in my mind didn't click. It didn't go together. It's not that it didn't click. It's just that I felt I was embarrassed, which is weird, but it's true. I was embarrassed of even having to think of telling people that I wrote a book. Isn't that weird? To think something that I've worked so hard on, and a talent of mine that I've been grooming since I was young. I've always been a writer first. I've always written, and I've always written creatively. But there was something to finally publishing the book that felt out of the ordinary. It didn't align with my identity of myself. And again, this might be the imposter syndrome talking, but I went through the thoughts of like, who am I? Like, who do I think I am to be publishing a book? Like, girl. Man. Who are you to be publishing a book? How bold are you? How brazen are you? I guess that would be the imposter syndrome talking. But I did it. I pushed through. I did it. It certainly didn't happen in that 1 month that I had given myself. Good Lord, it took maybe 6 months till I could actually press publish on the book. And then I had to take it down because there were some other edits and all that extra stuff. But I completely undermined what it meant to write a book. And, it's one of those things that I never would have known unless I was actually doing it. Like, I could not have foreseen the difficulties of what it means for me to write a book and the ways that would challenge my idea of myself, my ideas of myself as a writer, as a young woman, as an author, as a published author, and that when someone asks me, what do you do? I can actually say I am an author, and then having to deal with the replications of the fact that I'm literally telling people, hey, or at least this is how it feels like, hey, I was brazen enough to believe in this thing that I do that sometimes I doubt is good at all, but here it is, and please buy it and take it seriously and don't look me in the eyes when you do it, because I don't know if I can allow myself to see me the way you are seeing me right now. I hope that made sense, because for me, what I'm realizing is that it's so much easier for me to say I'm an author to a stranger, and for that stranger to go on Amazon and buy my book, and it's like, great, I didn't have to see them. I didn't have to experience what they experienced of me through purchasing the book and the ideas about the book. The process of them enjoying the work or not enjoying the work is solely theirs. And I never have to be there when they're doing it. There's a freedom in that. But to look at the people I know and say, hey, I published a book, and to see them experience the book in front of me is a bit much. I haven't learned how to deal with that. I guess maybe I haven't learned how to get comfortable with that, because part of imposter syndrome is believing that like people are one day going to wake up and realize that like you've been a fraud all along. And when I tell you that is exactly how I feel, that is exactly how I feel about the book. And I think that's why it took me so long, because I was fighting these psychological hurdles that I went through as an artist and as a creator. And it's so funny because it's so unlike my personality in other ways. I'm not like this about anything else. Believe me, I'm a very confident person. And so, but the writer in me is truly an artiste, truly, in every sense of the word. And that experience was, the quintessential artist experience was felt the greatest when I was working through writing the book, in the process of writing the book. But I did it. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of A Writer's Diary. If you would like to purchase the book, it is linked in the show notes below. There's a short link to Amazon, and you can buy it from there. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.